Pretty much, yes.
Pretty much.
Yes.
I don't care.
Yep.
I don't care. Okay. Do you know how long I've been waiting to say good morning, Tristan Snell? Welcome to the Tristan Snell Show.
Good morning.
I'm just a big fan of you on Twitter and on TV and all of that stuff.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, talk to us because you have a storied history. You're obviously an MSNBC legal analyst, but you prosecuted Trump University. So the stuff that you've been shouting on Twitter, it's just stuff that anybody from New York has said. This guy has been a crook his whole life.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had more experience with him here than the rest of the country got to find out about the Trump crime family. So, the New York AG's office so far is 2 for 2 in bringing cases against the Trumps with Trump University and then the Trump Foundation case. Now we have the big Trump organization case that Tish James is bringing here for rampant fraud and the valuation of his properties. And we'll see how that one goes. Tempering everybody's expectations, I don't think the case is going to suddenly, we're not going to see justice tomorrow. I know that's always everybody's frustration is how slow these things go. But I do actually think that we're going to see that case progress over the course of the next year or so. I actually think it'll eventually settle. I don't think Trump's going to let that go to trial because he might lose everything. I think he's going to end up cutting a very big check to make that case go away, but I guess we'll see what happens.
So where do we even start, right? I mean, literally since we opened the show 2.5 hours ago, there's more stories. But I mean, first of all, let's talk about Trump's lawyers, because you tweeted breaking. Trump lawyer Christina Bobb willing to cooperate with DOJ. When the Washington Post asked about this, she said, "I'm not allowed to talk about it." And you say Bobb would be a major domino involved in the fake electors, Willard War Room, and the Mar-a-Lago docs. So talk to us about that for a bit.
Well, but yeah, there's the joke that people have come up with that MAGA actually stands for "Make Attorneys Get Attorneys."
Right.
This is definitely a situation here where a lot of Trump's lawyers, at different points have had to get their own counsel because they've become implicated in the various investigations involving him. A lot of it is, as the Washington Post was reporting yesterday, there's more and more instances that we're finding where Trump is asking these lawyers to do things that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
That are in fact actually criminal or fraudulent themselves. And then they resist, then they potentially pull themselves off or get pushed off of the team. Chris Kites, possibly the same situation there that we're seeing. But to Bob, the fact that she is now, she was one of the main people going out there being kind of one of these, I would call them sort of spokes lawyers. Mm-hmm. Trump is finding people to be his lawyers. There's a certain set of his lawyers that it's clear that they're not really there to be, it's not like they're there to win a case in front of the Supreme Court. They're there to look good on TV. Like that's what they're there for. Yeah. And, she was one of the main people going out there being a spokes lawyer for him. Yeah. And now it turns out that she's actually, that there are clear signs that she might already be cooperating with DOJ. She knows a lot. She was at the center of a lot of things in the 2020, 2021 timeframe. And then, of course, she did sign the affidavit regarding the Mar-a-Lago documents. She has then apparently told people she was on a show, a conservative show, in which she noted carefully, in a very lawyerly way, that she was not acting as a lawyer for Trump when she signed that affidavit. She was merely acting as a custodian of documents, she claims. That is important because it signals that she is not going to claim attorney-client privilege over whatever communications were made between the Trump circle and her with regard to those documents at Mar-a-Lago. There's also a thing in attorney-client privilege that I can get to called the crime fraud exception that we're about to all learn way, way more about. But that also allows for an attorney to basically to basically lay down the burden of keeping attorney-client privilege and to actually be able to testify about things that otherwise might have been privileged.
Yeah. Well, and now we're hearing about this other lawyer, Alex Cannon, refused Trump's request in February to say all the documents were returned because he was not sure this statement was true. I mean, first of all, wouldn't you have to assume it's not true because Trump said it if you're his attorney? Right? I mean,
yeah, well, it's a combo of like, well, I don't know what people think when they're starting to work with him. Like, do they think that somehow they're going to be the one to like bring him to a place of reason, that other people failed at making him a good client and that they'll succeed where others had failed? Right. I don't know. What are they thinking? And then maybe they realize that, oh, wait, he is lying all the time. Or did Cannon actually get to a place where he knew for sure that certain things that Trump wanted him to say were in fact not true?
Right. You would think if you were a smart lawyer,
we don't know yet.
You would notice the string of lawyers behind you that are either in jail or disbarred. You would think that might come to your attention if you were going to be his new lawyer. But
it's kind of, and I'm sure that this was true in a different realm of his life, but it smacks of like, sort of like a ne'er-do-well kind of bad guy, like dating some new girl, and the girl thinks that she's going to be the one to actually get the guy to settle down.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's what all of these attorneys are doing. It's just like, oh yeah, I see that there's this like wreckage of other lawyers behind me, but I'm going to be different. I'm going to be the one to actually make a good.
He hasn't met me yet. Yeah, that's what
he hasn't met me yet. So he hasn't met me yet. So I'm going to be the lawyer that actually causes him to be a good client. Like, is that what they're thinking?